Take the Gnar here. I think the Gnar a little bit more stable than the Kennen. I think the Kennen matchup can be more punishing for the Renekton. With the Gnar, you're going to be bulkier. Don't have to worry about getting blown up if you get hit by a Chains of Corruption. Or, I mean, you are still vulnerable in Mini Gnar, but if you come into a fight, you're close to Mega, you are going to be a bit bulkier. And a lot of threat in the backline, a lot of threat in the side lane as well when you do get the later stages of the game. No jungler picked up yet for KT, presuming that Taliyah is going in the mid lane, which is the most likely case. And again, we haven't seen the Malphite have success when it has been picked, really, in the LCK. But it's just interesting, it's been banned so heavily, and then it just doesn't even get a look in at all here for KT. Now going to get banned here by T1 in the second rotation. Pantheon's still up and available for KT though, which could get paired with the Taliyah to great effect. So I don't think you're too bothered about the Malphite being taken away when you can just go towards that.
Yeah, I would agree. Makes you wonder why we do see the Malphite ban in the first place, but supposedly scared of the Malphite a bit more than the Pantheon. But it does feel like the Pantheon fits in very well. The Poppy is gone, and that also kind of leads towards, well, we do want something that is going in, that is dashing in, that is creating plays that Poppy would kind of stifle if T1 were able to get their hands on it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like the Poppy can sometimes just be a little bit non-impactful in lane, especially into something like the Varus that can just poke you out from a distance. Gonna see the Ezreal come out from Pays, a pick he is very comfortable on, a pick we saw him have great success, both very much in challenges as well and in the LCK. So something he can definitely look to have some power on in the mid game. And KT not opting, actually looking towards the Rakan here. And if they end up going Rakan Wukong here, that's a pretty strong pairing. You know, Ezreal tends to be that safe pick who can play at distance, but Wukong Rakan is something that can close the gap. I still think Pantheon, though, is a fine pairing with Taliyah, so I think you have plenty of options if you are Cuz here.
Yeah. Might even be considering, you know, what do we want to take off the board in Fearless at this point, because both seem very nice, but the Wukong Rakan duo will come in, and it's a very nicely rounded out comp here for KT.
Yeah, really strong combo, really solid engage, and actually seeing the Lissandra support come out, so we saw this a little bit. I remember Mickey X playing this a while back in the support room.
All right, game number 1 of the Telecom War. The rematch from Worlds 2025 Finals, which T1 eventually were able to take down. Although it was a fierce bout between the two teams. Faker back on his rise. He's been getting a lot of rise. And, you know, this guy has a cinematic where he is literally rise. So he likes the pick, to say the least. And it is a awesome pick in this meta. Definitely going to have our eyes here on the bottom lane a little bit to see how Keria can utilize this Lissandra against the Rakan.
Yeah, you have a good amount of range to harass with the pick. Obviously, Rakan can be good at surviving that just because you have the Gleaming Quill, but if you're able to dodge it away here, pretty solid. And again, just that being able to snap, interrupt his W is really powerful. Also, the point-and-click CC is very good at actually locking the Rakan in place. Polu definitely going to be one of make treads in this game to avoid getting just 100 to 0 zeroed in a CC chain.
And I mean, you remember in the past, we used to have stuff like Malzahar support just because you could be an ult bot and not necessarily need a whole bunch of items. It does feel like, you know, a different type of ultimate where it's, you know, it's not the suppression of the Malzahar ult, but still can be utilized to a similar effect by just pressing R onto someone that overextends a little bit, and the rest of T1 have more than enough damage in this composition, especially once Ryze hits 3-4 items, so I think feel like the pick is there.
One thing that's really nice as well is the Frozen Thralls, like the passive. So if you're in those skirmishes, getting those, because I do remember one thing they updated was the sort of usability of those, because I remember they used to be kind of clunky, and they would like stop moving before they exploded, and they also made it so they now follow targets into the brush.
He's getting in there. He's ghosting for this kill, and BD's going to have to flash away just like that in the solo 1v1. There's an interruption on the dash, by the way. We already got to see it. Palu is going to go back in. And BD's just dead. It's just a 1v1 kill solo by Faker. And now they're rooting the bottom lane. Palu's just dead too. And that's 2 kills for T1 3 minutes into the game.
Just huge for T1 already. Solo kill from Faker in the mid lane. He's on fire so far in the LCK Cup, taking down BDD in the 1v1. And in the bot lane, just a bit of disrespect from Palu stepping up to Pays and Keria and paying for it. This Lissandra pick working out very well already. Cuz is looking for a play in the top lane. Doran is about to hit Mega though. If he can get this Mega proc before he gets CC'd, maybe able to live, but he actually backs off a little bit. And with the small wave, KT don't end up going for the dive. So KT's counterplay doesn't end up coming to fruition, and this is just huge. We'll see how this panned out. So obviously he ghosted. This is the initial play to get him low. Ghosted on him, and BD only has TP, so doesn't have a response combat summoner. And then BD's trying to walk up, and I assume he flashes on him.
Yeah. I think BD assumes he doesn't have mana.
Yeah, you actually looked. Faker's mana just ticked up to have enough for his E there. So he used the W for the slow initially, and that was perfectly calculated from Faker. Textbook there. Super well played.
Yeah, you could see even BDD was like, no, there's no way he can do this. Like, he was in range to get flashed on. BDD knows the range of that, right? So you could tell that BDD just did not think that was possible, but Faker knew it was. And now we've got Keria roaming already with Oner and Faker. So the 2 guys that have kills, along with the jungler of T1, they want to get a fight as we have a TP flank coming in from Perfect. As T1 are really trying to get in there and force a fight here. Palu getting pretty low, and they're going to dodge the seismic shove. And now this is going to give time for Doran to move on over. And it just feels like KT will have to give up the chase. And you mentioned it before, Lissandra can kind of just do her own thing, and Ezreal is totally fine in the solo lane.
Yep, and I feel like KT were really hoping to get something from that. That was the opportunity to get back in the game, to punish, to find an angle. And in the end, all they can do is chase T1 out of their jungle. So, in fairness, you know, T1 don't get a favorable play out of it necessarily, but they don't get punished for it either.
Faker is pretty far behind on CS. I do wonder if he dropped a wave to make that play happen.
Yeah, despite the solo kill, actually giving up a lot of farm in order to make these plays happen. Definitely doing a lot of the roaming.
Yeah.
And
Doran was also behind earlier, has caught up a little bit.
I do wonder how that's impacted his quest progress, because one of the things with the role quests is so much of the progress is gained just from being in lane. Your passive progress goes like 5 times quicker from just being in lane, and it's such a massive factor in how quickly you can complete it. So if you're out of lane, you will be way behind tempo when it comes to quests. I'm wondering what sort of disadvantage Faker might be at in terms of that. We'll have to see later on when it comes through. Right now he's at 496, 500. We'll see how much further ahead BDD is.
Yeah. Cuz level 5 still, doesn't look like he's going to be able to do too much. But does want to roam on over as the Chains of Corruption going to catch Keria, and he's not level 6. So he is just dead. Gets flashed on by the Varus, aiming here. With a nice look, they catch him in transition towards that Drake. That does mean that Oner's going to have to pull off of that one. Perfect trying to go ahead and proxy here. He's going to go with the Dominus right as the Gnar comes out.
And honestly, proxying has kind of been buffed. I was actually trying to contest here. But I think he's going to be scared away by all the members here. Yeah, proxying's been kind of buffed because the area which counts as in lane. So where Perfect is proxying the wave is in lane, but when Doran walks back to defend against it, it actually doesn't count as him being in lane, weirdly enough. So he's not getting much progress to his quest, and Perfect still is. There's a lot of weird interactions with what counts as like in lane.
Yeah.
There was a recent one that was talked about alcoves not being in lane. Yeah, Keria just dies here. There were situations where, you know, even if you were like a little deep in the lane brush, you actually wouldn't hit level 2 on time because you get reduced XP on the first wave in bot lane. There's a lot of stuff like that with the new, like, what classifies as in lane? Because I would have thought, like, being in the alcove is, like, in lane, but
Absolutely.
Yeah. We'll
But
see.
apparently not.
We'll see, because we obviously can't see everyone's current quest progress, but we'll kind of see where everyone starts completing them when they start coming in.
So the last time we had support Lissandra was in 2016. February, it was LCK Spring Round 1, and it was Samsung Galaxy's Raid.
You know what?
And a loss to CJ's Mad Life.
You know what I think the craziest thing about that is? That Bard existed in 2016.
Yeah, some of these champs, it feels like they're not that old, but actually they've been around basically forever.
Yeah, Bard's 10 years old. Isn't that crazy? Bard does not feel like a 10 years old champion.
Yeah, he really does.
In my mind. But I feel like it's that thing that champions who are out before you started playing versus after you started playing feel so much different in age. Even if they're actually tangibly not that much different.
Yeah, it is true. So Payne seems like he's doing just fine down here on the bottom lane.
Yeah, he's having a great
Lissandra.
time.
Yeah, he was taking a bit of poke from aiming, but eventually just kind of smoothed that out and has been doing a decent job of keeping up in farm. Nice little knockback here, but Faker already with the Catalyst finish doesn't really care because Talia at this point in the game doesn't really do a whole lot of damage.
You know, honestly, I thought the early plays would really just blow this game open. But, I mean, one thing is getting kills in lane, less meaningful with how quickly you get back to lane with home guards. But also, Faker fell kind of far behind in terms of farm, and aiming on Polu got that counter kill onto Keria. So, you know, you look at the difference in gold between the 80 carries and mid laners, it's pretty non-existent. Despite, you know, it was really hype when Faker solo killed BDD.
It was a good solo kill.
It was, but it just didn't, it hasn't actually tangibly meant that much in the game yet. You do now have level 6 coming in for Keria, so a lot more playmaking potential here. And remember, aiming doesn't have cleanse available, so you know, his flash being down as well means he is a very vulnerable target. And honestly, Lissandra, one of the better champions at making dives happen, so if they see an angle for that, I'm certain they will go for it. In fact, Keria has triple tonic, and I think he popped the, I'm not sure what the specific tonic is called, but the one that gives the adaptive force. So he might be looking to make use of that.
He wants to fight.
Yeah, you can see the little red glow around him. He wants to fight. He wants to make it happen.
And now aiming's like, here, have a Chains of Corruption too. I don't have that anymore. If you want to fight, now's a really good time. But, you know, Vi, we saw Oner was down there. Now he's not, has gone back to farming his jungle. And it's kind of hard to just straight up dive them. Aiming still doesn't have flash, but
it's coming up soon.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to be okay.
Kind of missed their opportunity there. So the grub's taken by KT. First Dragon to go to T1. The Cloud Drake on the way. Doran going to try to interrupt this. Doesn't quite get the angle right.
I like the tech though, you know. Nearly had the angle. And actually I was looking at the quest progress. Faker pretty close to BDD's quest progress, so I was a little worried him being down in farm. Maybe he spent a bit too much time outside the lane, but he's actually pretty close, so won't be put too far behind in terms of those tier 3 boot completions. Jungler's pretty close as well, so I feel like that's kind of the thing we haven't really seen, other than when people are getting completely crushed into the dirt. We kind of just hit that point. It's around like 13-40 minutes. Everyone's quests just come in. Very quickly.
Yeah. It just happens, and it doesn't feel like it has a huge impact on the game. It's hard to get, like, quest spikes, you know? It's like, I have my quest and he doesn't have his. Now I'm going to outplay him in some way or get ahead of him significantly because of that. I haven't seen a lot of that. It's more so just been funny when some players are very far behind, like Faker in that one game. Didn't end up mattering.
Or when people don't... I think the best one is mid laners who just don't buy the boots.
Yeah.
And it's like...
That's a problem.
It's like, dude, you're not actually benefiting.
It's 2026. Even Cassiopeia can buy boots.
Yeah.
You better buy those boots. Yeah. Not the highest action game we've had, to say the least here.
Bandle Pipes Lissandra, you know, I kind of like the tech. Very cheap item. With Celestial Opposition as well, so you're pretty tanky, and so easy to proc it, right? Because you have slows on a lot of your abilities.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like KT trying to contest this.
There's a lot of shouting I can hear on the stage, so they're certainly trying to make some kind of play, as there is the engage from Keria. Presses his R button. Oner getting pretty low, but already Cuz goes down as aiming full health, but he doesn't have a front line anymore. BDD just has to flash out of there, but the chase is on. It looks like he's just going to wall himself out as Pace ends up finishing up the dragon. And that's 2 dragons now for T1 with a Mountain Soul on the way.
Yeah, T1 just able to pump damage into the front line of KT, and even though Oner goes down, the turnaround is swift, and T1 happy without that panned out. Look like they're potentially going to go for aiming there, but don't really fancy the dive, especially with Pace pretty low in terms of HP. We'll see the replay here, so they're looking to try and get onto Oner here, but the dash from him interrupts Cuz here, and then we see Keria go in, gets the AoE CC, and just kind of melts both the Rakan and the Wukong together. And then both those thralls kind of means BDD just has to get away, right? You don't want to hang around while they're ready to kind of explode you. I think also aiming was quite far away, not really able to contribute that much to the fight. So didn't really pan out. I think there is so much decisive engage from KT, but they just didn't really set it up that well. And also, you know, you got to think about the fact that picking the target is a little tricky here. Vi is a bit hard because her ult obviously ignores the CC. Ezreal's not the easiest target and has cleanse. Faker's quite bulky, but probably is one of the better targets. And Keria is Lissandra, so...
And has Unsealed Spellbook, and currently has Cleanse because of it.
Yeah.
So just to make matters even more difficult for KT.
Definitely some challenges.
Yeah. They're enjoying challenge at the moment. And it's pretty rough, because I feel like if you get behind with this comp, like, yes, you do have the Varus, but you don't have a huge amount of damage, and you're very pick-focused. So if you get the right target, yes, sure, you can blow them up, but you're not going to have a lot of vision set up. It's not going to be easy to find picks with this, even with their comp, which is kind of insane with Wukong and Rakan. But it just feels like if they don't have a little bit of setup, it becomes a little bit more difficult to actually set up the picks. Especially when finding the picks on a T1's members, as you mentioned, can be very difficult.
Yeah, I also feel like the frontline can. It's not like you have some super tank who can just walk up and take space. You know, if Wukong and Rakan are moving forwards, they kind of need to be engaging. Otherwise, they are just going to have like a Rise walk up at them and just put a full combo into them. Or, I mean, Keria is looking at Polu right now, and it's a little spooky.
Yeah. I remember, I think it was Atlas and maybe it was you or it was Wolf, but they were talking about the loudest champions that we do have here on the Korean client. The Karma's one of them, the Vi's another one, but Lissandra really takes the cake. And I'm glad that we do get it back here in whatever role it is, just for more action on the mic. Doran just doesn't really care about perfect anymore.
Yeah, I think early levels, Doran, actually, the top lane matchup wasn't going as well as you typically expect. Got set behind a bit in terms of...
Oh, okay, getting on in there. The exhaust to utilize, trying to really 100-0 Oner, and they are going to be able to do that. A bit traded back, but only on to Palu, who is the support, and even Keria is getting pretty low. So nice setup there from KT. Able to set up a pick, which their comp does very well, and it looks like they should be able to get this Rift Herald.
Yeah, I think a bit disrespectful from Oner. Didn't have the flash, didn't have a window to really ult, and just kind of gets CC locked and dies. So an overstep there from T1's jungler that gets punished. And a nice pickup that's going to lead to the Herald here from KT. So despite a bit of a deficit down in Dragons as well, still very much in this game. And the point I was making before is the early top lane matchup wasn't going too well for T1. But now, this is the thing with the Gnar. You just get to the point where you can just bully out a Renekton in the side lane, and Perfect is not having a fun time.
So our Deskers did confirm this is the chattiest comp of the LCK 2026, LCK Cup 2026. We got Lissandra and Vi, but also Gnar and Ezreal, who just never stops talking. There are so many chatty guys here on this comp. And yeah, it feels like Rise is a little bit left out.
Yeah,
but
right.
the rest of them, you know, they're really chatting up a storm.
So could you switch Rise out for a chattier champion? Is the question.
Does it have to be a mid laner?
Well, maybe you could put Lissandra mid, and then could you find a support who's a bit chattier?
Rakan's pretty chatty.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't he talking a lot? Brahm's got like a booming voice. Lulu. the giggles. I think that's a good choice as well. And Lulu's pretty meta nowadays, so I would not be surprised to see.
Yeah, but Lulu Ezreal's a bit.
Yeah, not in this comp.
Not in this comp.
Yeah. Maybe with the Varus, but not really. Not the best.
Maybe we should pitch it, but like, guys, next time switch your comp up, you know, not chatty enough.
All right, they're trying to make a play here onto the Wukong, who does not seem to have his clone, and it looks like Cuz is just dead. Even tried to flash out of that one and just gets hit by a giant boulder to the back of the head. Keria getting pretty low himself. But again, he is Lissandra with flash and heals. So T1, they find the pick themselves right before this dragon, and it might just be Mountain Soul point for them.
I feel like when you're playing into Wukong, the second you see him use his W, everyone just gets so tunnel visioned on taking this guy down. And you see T1 and we're like, oh.
All right, Keria is in a totally fine spot, and it's mid-Gnar, so this engage not really panning out all too much. And Pays eating forward, trying to get some more damage down. Faker, not the most range, but is able to defend his team. As Oner, all the while, was just taking the Mountain Drake.
Yeah, KT trying to get more from that, unable to do so, and it's T1 still coming out ahead in this play, getting the dragon. I'm pretty happy with that one, 3 in pocket. And we'll see for the replay here, so Cuz ends up playing a little bit aggressively here, and it's here, he W's away, and Oner and Keria are like, okay, it's go time.
You're dead.
They use that cooldown, we will kill him. And then they're trying to find a little bit more here, trying to step forwards, but a lot of cooldowns are invested by KT to kind of keep them at bay. And at that point, T1 are like, well, you know, chains of corruption down, jungler down, we can just go to the dragon. Oh.
Well, got a root here on a Pays, eventually is going to cleanse, has Keria nearby. Palu looks like he should be fine. Bit of a fight over the control ward, perhaps.
Yeah, I think getting the cleanse from Pei is pretty good overall. Just being able to pick that one up for free when there's nothing really on the cards to fight for. But still, it's a big lead for T1 right now. And what I am a little bit worried about is Pei's. Oh,
Palu somehow backing here where they could see him. We do have a disengage cone in position, but it doesn't matter with this much CC. Although Palu is going to flash on him, charm, and then just, well, die.
Yeah.
And
not ideal.
Yeah. Well, it's not the longest cooldown in the world, but he's not able to get away.
Yeah, I think Oner's flash didn't update on the overlay, so we're just sorting that out for a second.
Just hide it. Just put it away.
Yeah, but a little bit unfortunate there, probably trying to get away from that situation. I mean, ultimately, there's nothing to play for on the map right now, so it's not the end of the world. But still, we're just seeing T1 getting more and more control off the map right now. And we see, you know, the spike for Pays right now, the Triforce, and the Romana fully stacked. Faker is approaching his Rod of Ages being fully stacked, and he's going towards Actualizer. It's not looking too promising for KT. And we see Palu here nearly getting away. It's one of those moments where it's like, okay, he's very dead. He's very... Oh, is he alive? No. No. That's, you know, I mean, he gets the flash out. It's worth trading the ult for the flash in terms of cooldowns. But it definitely didn't feel too hot.
Yeah. Just kind of dying for not all too much. And Renekton's really not having a fun time against either of these solo laners as they're trying to engage a mini-Gnar here. Doran in a bit of a rough spot as the knockback comes out. They don't have all that much damage, but it is enough in the end.
Okay, nice
pick. Take him
down. Again, objectives are a while away, but it just gives some pressure. Going to throw down the Herald on the bot side and look to get this bot tower, so that's something. They also get Keria's flash, so, you know, trading up again. 2 flashes picked up, they'll take that, but they are losing pressure on mid. Aiming, trying to clear this wave out. And Pei's playing with a lot of confidence here.
Yeah, very stubbornly sticking onto that turret for quite a while. BDD, meanwhile, is in the bottom lane. Had this Rift Herald drop by Cuz for him.
Yeah, there's no one actually here to defend. I think Oner's going to get here in time to smite it, so it won't get a second charge, actually. He just got there in time. I thought he was going to get another charge in on that tier 2, but he slides in and clears it up, so nice move from him to defend there. And not let KT pick up more. It's a 3,000 gold lead. I think the main thing I'm concerned about is that dragon lead, especially since one of the concerns we had for KT was, you know, maybe lacking some damage. You're very burst focused. You have a poke Varus. You have like this engaged composition with the Rakan Wukong. You add the mountain shields to this T1 composition. That's when I'm starting to feel really worried, and they're 1 dragon away. So, you know, picks like this is good. This is what you want. The fact they got 2 flashes as well is a nice boon going into this next dragon fight. But this next Dragon fight, I think, is really going to make or break the game. So we'll see what KT are going to be able to pull off here and what angles to approach. The big worry is that although they got flashes from Doran, from Oner, from Keria, those summoners are available for Faker and Pays, and those are the targets they really want to get on top of. And as you can see from the scoreboard, they haven't been able to take either of them down so far this game.
Nope, they haven't. They've just been farming away very comfortably, especially Faker, who was 2-0-2, got the solo kill earlier, and he's got the biggest bounty in the game on him, and this Rise is going to be a problem, I think, for KT. He's just going to get stronger and stronger, get higher level, eventually with the Rod of Ages, be very tanky, and also do a ton of damage to this comp that really wants to go all in onto one target.
KT are actually kind of lucky because he's level 15. He's one stack away from his Rod of Ages level up, and he's almost completed his Actualizer, but hasn't quite. So they've actually dodged a bullet here because if he was a little bit more further along, he'd be so much stronger.
Yeah, could have been so much worse. As trying to go in onto Meganar, not the best, I would say, as now we have the flank coming in from Perfect, trying to take down Doran. They will be able to do that, but now Oner goes in onto Cuz, who just gets burst down. They do, in fact, have the damage, and Pays even looking for a bit more with that shift forward. So Palu very low, Cuz is down, and T1 can kind of just do whatever they want. I would imagine they'll look for this Mountain Soul.
It's such a weird engage, you know. Obviously, they did take down the Mega Gnar, but I felt like they just threw their front line at this bulky Gnar and just took so much damage in return. And in the end, not only did you give over the Mountain Soul, but now Faker's level up comes in. His Rod of Ages is completed. The next time you fight, he's going to have Actualizer. And I think that might just be game. I think you've missed the threshold. This was the moment you need to have a big, convincing fight. They got this seismic shove from BDD, and I think that made them think, okay, we have to make it happen. We have to kill Doran. I just don't think it's enough. I think you needed more. You needed a better angle. You needed backline access here, not just to kill one of the frontliners.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the fact that Cuz went down, but Palu and Perfect also ended up super low. And I think it might just be a bit too far in this game. Faker is going to be so close to having that Actualizer.
Yeah.
We've all seen what he can do. Not just the Rise with his item, but Faker specifically on this champ. I mean, how many times have we seen Faker as Rise in a cinematic? But we've seen him in the LCK Cup on this pick. So, yeah, it's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, we talked about all the synergy in this composition for KT, but it just feels like, you know, you were talking about better angles. We haven't really seen them utilize a lot of their synergy, like the Wukong Rakan. We haven't seen those two come together and actually make a nice engage go off. It's kind of just been Cuz got caught one time, Palu got caught in the last fight and kind of had to use the quickness just to try to barely survive. Like, that's not the engage synergy we were talking about. Could have been much better, as now Perfect in the side lane. He's got a big shield, but the smite comes in, and it looks like Perfect will just go down in the 2v1. So a nice little pick in the side lane.
Yep. So nice pick up there, and it's just kind of telling that KT aren't able to really contest the Baron on the other side. Faker picked up his Actualizer there. We also see Pays going for the Endless Hunger. You know, this was talked about, Wolf was mentioned on the space yesterday. You get ability haste based on the AD you have. So as you're going to get just insane, almost earth levels of ability haste with his item. And also, it gives tenacity, which I don't think he needs, right? He has cleanse, but, you know, why not?
Yeah, a little bonus, you know?
Just to make things even more impossible than they already felt a little bit.
Yeah.
KT, I feel, kind of need a miracle. They kind of need an overstep from T1 at this point. A perfect engage, I think, on the right target. Not specifically perfect, sorry, but a flawless engage.
Perfect is the top laner of KT.
Yes,
so
they need a flawless engage, I think is the better way to win it. And this game's just kind of been
clean
smooth.
engage.
Yeah, clean engage. It's been smooth sailing for T1. You look at the gold graph, and this is kind of the game we'd be hoping for as a T1 fan. You know, with maybe the series against DRX instilling some doubt, right? It was one of those happy series that T1 sometimes has. This is kind of the form where you're like, oh, they're locked in.
Well, the game they lost to DRX was game 2. So we'll wait for game 2. At least I will, before I say that T1 are not ready to happy game, because I've seen this many a time.
Are you suggesting I'm cursing them a little bit?
No, I just think T1 has some tendencies sometimes.
Okay, we'll see. Well, so far things looking good, but Cuz is trying to make his way in, potentially for a steal.
Yeah, he's trying to get that engage going as Palu, and, well, it wasn't much of anything, as now the Cyclone is going to go down, and a massive Doran to the wall! Doran wants to end this game right here, right now, and I think he just did. As Perfect on the run, but he should be the 4th casualty on the list. BDD also on the run, but Faker's just sprinting at him. Is trying to actualize all over BDD at this point in time, who is going to flash away, and the flash comes in from Faker. Nice knockaway, actually, from BDD onto Keria. As they're really extending into the base beyond 2 turrets.
Who's tanking? Come on. Okay, Keria, you've got it. He's a little bit tanky, shield. Right? Got the shield. There's still, the mid-tier 2 is up, right? So, definitely a little bit of an overstep there to try and chase down BDD, but they really wanted those kills. And this engage, so Keria comes in with the flash for the root here. Gets the core going in, flashes, gets the root, and then coming in with Doran with a follow-up, slam into the wall, into the stun.
The Realm Warp delivery of the Mega Gnar.
So well played, and just a brutal crushing here from T1. You know, we were saying this game felt like it was a little bit over. This fight really demonstrated it.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Palu's like desperation engaging on the Ezreal with Cleanse without the Wukong. Just again kind of shows you how desperate they are to try to make something happen. And yes, eventually T1 have their fun in the base and get that going on. We do have the Elder Dragon spawning in a minute because the Elemental Soul did come out very early in this game. And so T1 with total control on the map should just be able to take that down if they would like to play this very safely.
I think probably won't. I think they'll probably bait it and just kill them. Probably won't let the Elder get low.
Still have 2 minutes of Baron. I guess they did just get it, so.
Yeah, I think if KT can't let them get Elder, but if KT come to contest, they'll just kill them. They won't let it be a flip, because that's like the only way you lose the game is Cuz steals the Elder, and then they win a fight off that. T1 have seemed quite serious this game. No shenanigans yet. And KT trying to make the base defense happen, but the tower is getting shredded by these cannon minions right now. And Page trying to land the poke here.
Yep. Still a minute 30 on the Baron buff, so really just trying their best to push in. Here's the TP, and this will be from Perfect with the Dominus procced already, but the rest of the team is so far away, and now aiming is all by his lonesome, is going to flash away, but the Realm Warp is coming in, and Faker wants to continue to actualize on this team. The exhaust is there, aiming is down, and the denial on the wall getaway from BDD is really going to put the nail in the coffin on this game number 1. 15-5 the kills.
You know, that recall was a great call, Perfect. You just stay in the fountain. No, I think there's a better place for you to be.
Yeah.
And that is in the fountain. Not much you can do here.
He's going to get rooted up by Keria, who just casually plays Lissandra support into Palu's Rakan, and wasn't even the main character of this game. I mean, he was good, but I think